So, how do you feel about what you do? How good are you at what you do? Or how much do you do what you do? Is it behavior? Is it attitude? Is it technique? Or is it all three? We're going to talk about that next with Pat McManamon on the Purpose Under Pressure podcast. Welcome back. My name's Bryan, and this is Purpose Under Pressure. It's a podcast about developing sales and leadership success on purpose while you're under pressure. And it's brought to you by the professional sales and leadership training team at Sandler by the Ruby Group. You'll find them in Akron and in Columbus, Ohio. They're in Jacksonville, Florida. They're in Capital Region, New York. They do their work on purpose, as we've said so many times, so that you and your team can represent that way. I think one of the things that we do is we hire young sellers and we take them out on a couple of sales calls, right? And we turn them loose. That's not on purpose. If you have one salesperson with 20 years experience, another person with 20 minutes experience, imagine how the newbies customers feel. Those are your customers. I imagine how they feel. I mean, you train them up, and you know what you'll learn when you do train up the new guy. You'll realize that guy with 20 years of experience maybe can use a fresh coat of paint as well. And I think that's how you do things well. So if you're interested in doing things right, go ahead and do something for me. Reach out to Sandler by the Ruby Group. You can connect with them online at therubygroup.sandler.com. The Ruby Group, developing stronger sales teams for tougher conversations. So let's get cooking. Look, we've all failed at something, right? We just talked a little bit about new salespeople. Lord knows I have. It sucks when you try to do something really well when it matters to you and you fail. And we all know that we just need to get back up again. And people say, just get back up and try again. We all know that. But sellers, we strike out all the time. Sellers are constantly failing. You try again, they say. You can't succeed unless you fail, they say. But falling down and getting back up is one thing. Doing it every day, maybe every hour, that's hard. It's hard to be a salesperson. You struck out. That sucks, but keep trying. Geez, if I'm going to strike out again, why don't I just bunt, you might say, and that's comfort. I don't think that's good. I don't think salespeople should be comfortable. And I want to talk about getting a little less comfortable, but also becoming more successful. And maybe even we can call it improving the batting average. I asked Pat McManamon, he's a partner and trainer with Sandler by the Ruby Group, to join me to talk about getting better, maybe get some more success, even in the hard spots, to what we do as sellers. So Pat, welcome to Purpose Under Pressure. I'm glad you're here.
Thanks, Bryan. Thank you for having me. Looking forward to this topic.
Yeah, I know you are. And I know the folks at Sandler by the Ruby Group believe in this idea of getting better and trying more and getting out of the comfort zone. But Pat, no one likes to fail. We just talked about that. If I tried it and it didn't work, if I tried it one more time and I got shut down again, why? Why would I want to do that same thing over again? Do you get that a lot in people that you work with?
Yeah, and thankfully within Sandler, we've got this tool called, what's our topic for today, improving your batting average. And another term for it is called success triangles. And what we're really driving towards in the world of sales is having the ability to have resilience and grit. We talk within the Ruby Group a lot about having grit. Mm-hmm. And there's been a lot of studies that show that the key differentiator between those that are successful and those that are not successful has nothing to do with background, or in some cases even years of experience or technical expertise. It has to do primarily with that ability to persevere through and have that grit. And what we're going to dive into today is understanding that the components of grit that help make people more successful, and that is driven by the success triangles, the BAT, as we call it.
And by grit, you mean what we were just talking about, getting back up and going after it again and getting it done. So tell me a little bit about the triangle then, because I think one thing leads to another, but it starts with getting back up and showing some grit, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And so it's BAT, behavior, attitude, and technique. And they are sequential in the sense that they're interrelated, but they also are driven in a sequence, the sequence being behavior. If we're not doing enough of the activity, we are going to fall short of our overall determination of success, or our goals, if you will. And so having clarity with our goals and really understanding what the plan is one of the things that helps us to stay in that mindset of being resilient or having grit. In the absence of that, if we're just going to go out and do the best we can, that's too nebulous. That's too vague. And the subconscious brain can't really embrace that. And so when it does, we do get knocked down or we do experience failure of some sort. If we don't have that plan to fall back on, we're going to find ourselves struggling a lot more.
I think that's true. I want to ask you about this. I want to push back a little bit because I've done this before. So what's more important, attitude, technique, or behavior? And I've raised my hand and said, it's absolutely attitude. If I feel like I can do it, if I know I can do it, if I feel strong about it, man, I'm going to get it done. If I have a poor attitude, well, why even show up in the first place, right? That's what I train my kids.
Right.
But you're saying that behavior is where you start.
Yeah.
And if I don't want to do it, well, why would I start with behavior?
Right. Yeah, it's a very common pushback, quite frankly, Bryan, is because we've all seen the posters on the wall that attitude is everything.
Yeah.
And we have a saying, or we have a Sandler rule that says it's not how you feel that determines how you act. It's how you act that determines how you feel. So let me break that down.
Okay.
If we wait for the right attitude or the right mindset to go out and do the things that will drive our success, we'll call those the behaviors or the tasks. If we let our mindset determine that, that's going to be a very roller coaster cadence of activity. Instead, what we need to do is be committed to a consistent cadence of activity, which is the behavior. And then what we'll find is that our attitude then becomes fortified and becomes reinforced in a positive way, saying, I'm doing the activity, which therefore I'm feeling better about my chances of success. And quite frankly, the statistical evidence is pointing that if I'm doing the behavior, that when and if I do have a setback or a failure, I have enough other lines in the water that I can still be successful.
And so you're saying no matter how I feel about it, just do the work. Just get up, make the 10 calls, the 30 calls, the knocks on the doors, the whatever you feel needs to be done or has to be done. It's not even feel has to be done. It's whatever needs to get done. So sales leaders can help this by shifting their expectations, right? What would a sales leader, what would that look like when they're helping their sellers to try to get more behavior instead of getting the attitude right off the shot?
That's a great point. Sales leaders do need to focus on what we refer to as those leading indicators versus the lagging indicators. Lagging indicators are the byproduct of the activity, and the lagging indicators are what you just referenced, Bryan. Things like how many deals did you close this month? How many proposals did you make? What's the average sale? Those type of things. Mm-hmm. Those are certainly things that we want to track, but what we want to manage is the activity on the front end. And sales leaders, good sales leaders, will focus on the behavior and give acknowledgement to those salespeople that in fact are staying consistent and in fact doing what they say they do at the beginning of the day, week, and month.
Pat, we haven't talked about technique. That's the third piece of the triangle: behavior, attitude, technique. Where does technique fall into this? Is it important? Is it third? How does it fit?
What we find is that sales leaders and even individuals, as they're trying to figure out the exact formula, oftentimes they will default to technique and they'll say, I need to ask better questions. I need to go for the close sooner, whatever they determine it is. But it starts with having a system. And the technique is driven by following that system. The beauty of having a system is that you can very quickly pinpoint where your system is breaking down in the event that you're not as successful as you want to. Is it that am I not starting the meeting properly at the beginning with, within Sandler, we refer to as the upfront contract. Am I not starting the meeting properly, so therefore it's not ending properly? Am I not diving deep enough when a prospect introduces a challenge or an issue that they're having? Am I not diving deep enough into not only what the problem is, but what impact it's having and their commitment to fix that problem? If that's the problem, if that's my problem from a performance perspective, I need to understand that. And so being able to follow the system allows you to pinpoint where you need to, in fact, tweak or refine or look for outside guidance as to how to improve.
Yeah, I think technique you can practice and you can work on and you can get better and you can realize the things that have to be done. And it's very, very important. You can't be bad at your job. You have to do things right and do things professionally. Behavior is just one of those things. Am I wrong here, Pat? Hey, man, just do it. Just get up and get it gone and get it done and let's roll. And
Yeah,
we'll work on the rest later.
absolutely. And where we're most often approached from our prospects and ultimately our clients is they do focus on technique. And it's like, our
Agree.
people just need to get better at closing. And we have to oftentimes get them off that mark in order to get them to think about, it may be closing, but it might be amplified or exacerbated by the fact that the reason they're not able to close is because they're putting too much pressure on themselves because they know that they have a very mediocre, if not anemic, pipeline.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's a lot of pressure on an individual to think, I've got to close this deal because I've got nothing else going. That can be a tough situation for anybody to perform in. So yeah, the behavioral piece is key. It's driven by our goals, and that's, sometimes we hear from sales leaders about the importance of, or they ask about, how do I motivate my people? Well, what motivates them? What's important to them, and helping them realize that the manager can help facilitate their goal success, but the individual has to have their own internal reason for being successful first. Otherwise, it's like water dripping off a rock. It's just going to hit and splash.
Yeah. I love the concept of the triangle. And as we wrap up here, I just think that, like you said, every sales leader, every salesperson has one thing they need to get better at. And very rarely is it, I just need to do more. And even if we tell ourselves that we just need to do more, usually that happens on a Friday, right? After a full week of not doing more. And we say, Monday, Monday, I'm going to really knock it out because if I only make this going, and then we start focusing on technique or attitude or whatever, and we end up another week deeper. And so I think you have to really see that triangle. I think it's one of the genius tools, training tools of Sandler by the Ruby Group. If someone wanted to learn more about this, Pat, could they reach out to you, or how do they find you, or any fun when they're at Sandler by the Ruby Group to help them with this?
Yeah, certainly through the Ruby Group, the website that you mentioned earlier, and then also my direct email if they've got any questions about this topic. That's pjm@sandler.com. That would be the easiest way, and happy to help anybody in this ongoing process we're all going through.
And we always will be. This is not a new issue, is it? This has been
No.
something about sellers for time after time after time. So, Pat McManamon, thank you very much for joining us on Purpose Under Pressure. I appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
That's Pat McManamon. He's a partner and trainer at Sandler by the Ruby Group, and I'm glad he was here to talk about the triangle. It's those kinds of things that I think separate Sandler by the Ruby Group. There's a lot of folks that can talk about technique. There's a lot of conferences you can go to that say rah rah rah, go go go, feel better about it, and you'll be great. It's all combined, and it starts with doing the work. And I think that's what you're going to find when you reach out to our friends at Sandler by the Ruby Group. Thanks for being here, everybody. I appreciate your watching. I appreciate your listening. And I hope that you'll come back again and again and again. If you subscribe, you won't miss an episode. And you'll find all of the episodes of Purpose Under Pressure at bryanmediastrategies.com/podcast. And wherever you stream your favorite shows, it's brought to you by the Ruby Group, developing stronger sales teams for tougher conversations. And until next time, no matter how high the pressure gets, just do the work and stay on purpose.